Hey everyone, it's me, Jeremy Alexander Newsom, with your IR4 podcast. I am back from vacation, which transpired just last week. Had an amazing time on the cruise, and now I am up here in Montreal, Canada this particular week. Be back in Nashville next week. Of course, so many requests and emails and messages and posts about the crypto market. Let's dive in and do our free Tuesday review that I do every single week. First and foremost, got to talk about Big Daddy Bitcoin himself. This is the daily chart on Bitcoin, and what we see and what we have is the interaction with some long-term moving averages. So obviously, we had a very nice pop since mid-April, really the 12th of April, and she just ran right into some of these long-term moving averages. This is going to be a really interesting spot, as it is right on top of the long term, the 100, the 200, and a previous support resistance. So my overall thought process is we probably will chop around here for a bit. The biggest question, of course, is could we break down this support and trade all the way back down to 7,000? Yeah, that is possible. Will it occur? That part I don't know, but it is certainly feasible that could happen, as we still likely will be accumulating for a while. And accumulating means we're just going to trade sideways, chop around, and really just form a good base. Here's the weekly chart, and the good news is since last week you had 3 or 4 nice white candles in a row, and if I hide all the drawings, you have a really good morning star reversal pattern right here. And what was really helpful is now you have the 100 simple on a weekly chart up at 4,092. That's a really big deal, as it's going to provide a solid support for Bitcoin. And again, as we just chop around and trade sideways, the fact that we broke out of that downward death spiral that we were in there for a few months was really a big deal. And now I'm still anticipating some more choppy, so we could easily get something like this for a while. Of course, we are in a pennant pattern. We could break out bullish, trade into high 11s, and then pull back and then bounce. That's another scenario, but a little bit less likely. Of course, I would love for that to occur, but I'm thinking it's more of the scenario 1. So that is Bitcoin. Here's Litecoin, LTC USD over here on Coinbase, and you can see pretty much very similar pattern. We trade down to a support, and we bounced nicely into some really good long-term moving averages, and that's where a lot of people are selling. A lot of people are locking in profit. A lot of people are taking their gains because, again, you had a really good move, right? From about 120-ish to about 160-ish. I mean, that's 40 points, pretty decent percent gain for about 3 weeks worth of work. Now, on the weekly chart, again, you can see some pretty interesting similarities, but we have a very nice trend. And like I mentioned, you just have to love this volume. Big taper off of volume here, but we really did have some come back in. So my thought process is we probably do get another rotation down, and then we start getting some dip buying opportunities. That is a possibility. Obviously, if it just starts running higher, that would be fantastic, but it just makes sense to me that we do get some pullbacks. So for a lot of the trades, just set up your entries and buy them as cheap as you think they might go, because they probably can, at least Litecoin and potentially even Ethereum. So here's Ethereum. And Ethereum, a little on the stronger side with some of the volume profiles and what it's doing, but also just smacking its head against these long terms. What will be really exciting for everybody is if we have some nice higher lows, some good lower highs, we trade sideways, and we break out of here in a few weeks. That would be just terrific. That's really best case scenario. I don't think that's going to happen just because I'm more of a realist when it comes to trading. But you have a really good support resistance where we are. And this support resistance, now we can kind of bring them up and kind of put it right about here. And that's really based from these candles back in mid-February where we got that first little bounce. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long we do consolidate here. And again, if we can really spring forward, that would be a strong move, and I would really be excited about that. Here's Dash US dollar and Dash on Kraken, smacking its head against the long terms as well. I had a pretty massive recovery from 300 up here to 500. I mean, that's 200 points any way you slice it. And again, you can see a very nice, very obvious pennant pattern. And again, if you come over here to the weekly chart, you get a lot of morning stars. So there's a lot of patterns that look very similar. A lot of the market is trading, together right now, which is kind of a good thing. So I think this is going to be a good support. I think worst case scenario, we take a little bit of a dip and then get another buying opportunity. I don't think we take out these supports. If we do, some things are going to be really, really rough for a bit. But we'll just have to see, right? Nice little double bottom here on Dash, a little bit of double bottom right there. So your neckline is about 400 and some change. So if we do break this pennant pattern lower, which is possible, somewhere around 380 and then 360 would probably be some spots you could pick some up. Obviously, the one that a lot of people are excited about is EOS, US dollar. So EOS with a strong break out of here. Really, it just happened on April the 11th. I mean, that was the Big Daddy Crusher. Huge move. Traded in here. Here's your retest, your rest, your flag pattern, volume declined. And then you broke out again. Had another breakout, gorgeous breakout. Had a good retest on the 21st. Another pennant pattern and another nice little breakout. So I did catch that move pretty nicely on EOS. Here's the weekly chart. And really what we're doing at this point is retesting the previous all-time high. So you have the previous all-time high resistance area here at about 1477. Here's the daily chart. So there's some nice resistance there. The previous all-time high, of course, right about here at 18 and some change on EOS. So I like this little retracement. Here's your exponential moving averages. Trade right down to the 10. I did have an EOS order with XBT. So here's XBT at 18.00185. So snagged a little bit of that. That was more or less just buying the dip off of the long-term moving averages on the hourly chart. So there you go. That was pretty much just looking at buying some on that particular pullback. So that's on the hourly time frame. Back over to the daily, really corresponding with that 10 pretty nicely. And again, this is the daily. So if you hop over here to the weekly and you kind of zoom in, you can see this is also the previous resistance right here, old resistance, new support. So this one's filled. These are my other two levels on EOS XBT. I'm going to be planning some setups on Stellar, XLM, XBT. This one had a very, very nice pullback, really just today. And that one, I mean, looks gorgeous. So this one held up for a while very well, right? So again, you have this nice weekly resistance here. Boom, old resistance. And you got some here. Boom, old resistance. And realistically, if you're looking at it, we just had a breakout. One pullback, that was a shorter term pullback, and then here's the bigger pullback. Very healthy, very nice. So I'm certainly looking at snagging some XLM for sure if given the opportunity. Monero, so Monero Bitcoin on Kraken. Where do we got it over here? XMR XBT. So here's Kraken, and this is the daily chart. So the daily chart, here's your long-term moving averages. And we're just kind of trading in a channel at the moment. So looking to see if Monero can pull down to this 20.023872 area, which would be a pretty decent spot to buy the dip. The weekly chart, here's your weekly and your exponential moving averages here. Just slowly doing their thing. It looks like it's trying to make higher highs and higher lows, but it does look like some type of channel play. So it's some support resistance right about there. So, all right, buy down here, sell up here, buy down here, sell up here, that kind of thing. Pretty easy stuff on Monero XBT. I think that's about it for me. Again, if you have any requests or any specific pairs you want me to look at or analyze, just let me know. I do my absolute best to crank out new coin market updates that are entirely for free for everyone every single Tuesday. Otherwise, if you ever want to hop over to our Fourth Industrial Revolution podcast webpage here on patreon.com, become a patron, get some content, create some brainwaves, make a lot of money in this space, learn a lot, grow a lot, and that is the point of life, to progress, to give, and to be happy. My friends, I will see you on our Thursday interview, which will come out in just a few days, along with your coin market update on Saturday. And until then, remember, love, live, learn. You all rock. Bye.